Warning: the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are based on psychic impressions and true life events that may be potentially frightening and or disturbing to some viewers. Any of the information that is shared in this production should not replace the advice of medical professionals and is intended for general purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey Chastity,
Yes.
what's the name of this recording?
Why can't we have nice things?
Right?
Like for real. Like for real, for real, for real. It's been one hell of a week, y'all.
Yeah. It's been one hell of 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes. It's actually been 2 weeks since we've recorded because we've had a lot of things going on. Like Emily's been working super hard on her stuff. I've been working super hard on my stuff and on this case that I had with my client that I told y'all about last week. And all kinds of things have happened. But you know what? We just went through the, lunar eclipse that was in Scorpio, and we're in Mercury retrograde, and all that's getting ready to come to an end. So the day that we launch this episode will be the end of Mercury retrograde.
You know, I don't know what it is. I kind of like Mercury in retrograde. It's weird.
Well, some people actually do better during Mercury retrograde because it lines up with their astrological placements, and some people were born during Mercury retrograde. And you can kind of tell by their mood if they're born during Mercury retrograde. So that's something that I'll have to look into for you.
Yeah, I want to know.
Yeah, I'll find out for
Yay.
sure. I'll put it in my Mad Astrologist app and just do it. I'm going to
Whoop, whoop, whoop,
do
whoop.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we are two mediums that specialize in the paranormal. Our purpose is to shed light on what goes bump in the night. That's why we call this podcast
Lights at midnight.
Lamp, the
Ding.
Lamp Fam. I
Yeah.
hope y'all get that. Like, I'm totally wanting to make, and Emily was like, no, don't do it. But then she saw it and she really liked it. I really want to make shirts with light bulbs on them.
Yes. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about
I know.
it.
I mean, it's cute looking, I know, but we talked about it in plushie form. We want to make plushie. I
Oh
wanted to
my
make
god, yes.
plushie light bulbs.
Like literally the design you made, but as a plushie.
Exactly. That would be so cool. Why not? I mean, maybe one day, maybe one day. But yeah, guys, we have quite a bit. Well, this might not be as long of an episode as last week for sure, because that was a lot of information. And we had a promo, which we have another one today, actually, we'll get into in a bit. But today we're going to talk about manifestation and meditation. So they're two different practices, but they do have similar actions and they produce results, right? But there's similarities and differences between manifestation and meditation, but they coincide with each other. That's why we put them together. And it's going to be like a beginner's episode. So if you're already, you know, into your practices and stuff, this might just be an overview for you. But if you're just getting started, it would be, a great place to get information from. And of course, we'll be keeping it spooky. So even though we're going to be moving into more psychic things and stuff, we still obviously have tons of spooky information and stories for you guys because we are two mediums that specialize in the paranormal, but we also do our own form of spiritual guidance. So this is kind of where we're at in this super long season, and we are literally over halfway now. So we are probably a third of the way, 2/3 of the way done with this season, which is crazy. This is episode 20, guys.
Yeah,
So
time flies when you're having fun.
I know, or being really, really busy.
I know.
But it has been fun. This has been an opportunity that I'm grateful for. We have learned things, we have made connections. Like, I mean, it's definitely a growth opportunity. And I hope that reflects into our listeners. I hope that you have grown with us and gained a larger perspective on not just the paranormal, but spirituality in general. That's the whole purpose of this season one. We want to keep this as evergreen content, and we want to make a library for people to come back and new people that are just getting into this. So, yeah, we also have some announcements to make. So, this Wednesday, we will be doing our part 2 with Kevin from Where the Weird Ones Are. And yeah, super awesome. He's really, really cool. If you haven't checked out his podcast, Where the Weird Ones Are, love the name. Definitely, you can get it on Spotify or Apple or YouTube, and you'll be able to see again our big heads talking on YouTube. And also, too, we have an announcement to make. We have made it in socials. We are now paired up with the Hinsdale House, the infamous haunted Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York, and we are now a part of their affiliates. The whole purpose of this, though, is to help the restoration efforts of this super iconic place. And, because there's a lot of things that need to be done, and they want to preserve this, this house for paranormal research. And I'd personally believe in the amount of paranormal research that's come out of this place, that it's very valuable. This place reminds me, the area and everything reminds me a lot of where I used to live in a way, even though it's in upstate New York and I'm kind of near the Appalachian Mountains, or Appalachia, as some of you guys call it. We call it Appalachian. Okay. Okay. But it reminds me a lot of that. It really does. So, definitely, guys, the links down in the description of the show, or if you're watching us or listening rather on YouTube, you can find it in the description box down below. And if you follow our link, you can get 10% off of your order, and you can help support the Hinsdale House and the restoration efforts. And we will be inserting a full promo into this episode as well, probably mid roll. Also, last night I sat down with the psychic sleuth and discussed some things, all things haunted. It's kind of things that I've discussed here, but Emily was she was in the chat and being awesomely supportive, but I just wanted to mention that. So if anybody's interested in checking that out, you can check out the Psychic Sleuth channel, or you can find it on my channel, and it's like a 3-hour live, and we answer some questions and stuff. I think that would be super beneficial for folks that are really just getting into this type of work. Also, I know a lot of people from her channel may be coming to check out our podcast, so I want to tell you guys thank you for your support. If you have any questions, feel free to email here at the podcast, or um myself personally. And Emily, she definitely, me and her can work together. We're considering starting our own services, guys,
Mm-hmm.
for Lights at Midnight. So, like a collective service. So, that might be something that we're going to be doing in the near future. I just kind of wanted to say that too as a tie in. And again, last week, we did a promo for energy mindfulness. I don't, if you listened to last week's episode, you got a full review. You can go to our link in our bio. So we do it all through Linktree now, and you can find Kevin's podcast. You can find energy mindfulness, and you can find the Hinsdale House links all there. So that is the updates for this week. And now we have some experiences to share with you.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So, Emily, would you like to start off by sharing your week's experience?
Yas. So okay, if you didn't know, I run a Patreon for my own channel and whatnot. But so one of the services is I have to do readings for a certain tier. And so when I was doing that for one of my patrons, I was channeling in this person or this spirit, and it's funny because the person that I was doing the reading for is Australian, but like the person I was channeling with, they were speaking also in a similar accent, but it was a female, but old-timey in the way of like the way that they spoke isn't exactly what is currently said or how it's said, if that makes sense. Um but yeah, she started speaking to me in her language, and I was writing as she was talking to me, and it was freaky because she was like correcting me on my spelling. She's like, no, it's born with an e at the end. I was like, what? There's a born with an e at the end?
That's how they spell it in Australia, probably, right?
I don't know. No, it's a different word.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that
Like,
can kind of place it. Oh gosh, if you look that, I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that part, So if you look that up,
yeah.
you can see where the translation, and like you can date it by that word. You
Yeah,
can date it and see if it was
I
spelt
ha
that way at a certain time period.
I have to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Because words, they change over time, but it also will give you like a place because, people in England spell the words differently than we do, like
Mhm.
color. They spell it with a U and we
Yeah.
don't. So it's probably similar. So, I mean, that's something to look into for sure.
Mhm. But yeah, so I was doing that, and then, like you said, you were on the, live with Rochelle, and, as her dogs are going off, I see a standoff between her spirit guides and dark things, and then she
Yeah.
validated it because she says that
Yeah.
happens from time to time, and that's
And it's so weird because I couldn't read the chat.
yeah.
Like I could, but it was just too much. Like I had two chats going and then trying to be focused on the live, so I couldn't really get into the chat like, you or Rochelle could because she had it right in front of her. And when you said that, I had already seen the hallway. I saw it like through Rochelle's eyes, and in the hallway there was like a black kind of figure. And I mean, we were talking about some not super dark stuff, but darker stuff. And she says that happens all the time. And then, yeah, Emily validated that like perfectly.
Mhm.
So between the three of us, like I'm gonna have to I'm gonna send Rochelle some cleansing spray. I told her I'm gonna make her some because yeah, we got to get that thing out of there.
Yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of stuff happen, but that's just like a few. But Chastity, what about you? Do you have any paranormal experiences for this week?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I've been working on the case with my client and she has been through a lot. So, and this case has went further than any case that I've ever worked, which I'm happy to report. Like I'm happy to say that, she found other people that she could work with and brought into her home. So, the work that I did with her is I've been working to kind of like basically energetically heal her and to identify any type of spirits. I got validation from the team that come in. They got EVPs to validate the things that I picked up. They got information about the area, which is so it's been very validating for me. And at some point, I will be sitting down with my client and we will be doing a video on this because it's an extremely interesting story. It's an extremely spooky story, and I have learned stuff from this story. And I think it's something that, and my client does want to share it with everybody with the, on the basis of she now wants to help people. She's very much like us, and I say us like me and Emily and the people that resonate with the type of work that we do. So she has found her tribe. She is really, really sweet person. um, let's see. So we kind of solved um, i'm I'm not 100% that, and I didn't choose this name for the entity and I'm not going to share it here, but I will say that I picked up that it was like a demonic elemental. Well, there has been discoveries based on research and certain things that have happened where we've kind of, I say we, the other people she was working with, they really wanted like a name of the entity, not like the demonic, not a demonic name, but the type of entity, because this is something that I haven't personally worked with a lot, but I knew it was a different type of energy. So that has been found out. And so, yeah, we've actually found out the type of entity it could potentially be. And I would say I can agree about 90% with what the other team found because it does line up. But there's like multi layers, multi levels to this entity. It's not 100% like demonic out of the things that we've been taught, but it has abilities very close to that. And yeah, I mean, super scary experiences, but I'm happy to report that the energy is no longer in my client's home. I'm happy to report that she is feeling better. I have sent her a crystal pack. I have sent her some moon water spray, some essential oils, and she started using that as of Thursday. So a couple days now. And she is energetically like in the process of getting everything cleared out. And in her home, everything's cleared out except for she is having some humans spirits visit her now because she is highly intuitive, and she is in the phase of what I like to call, like, once you kick something that's been so close to you, like out of your area and out of your energy or magnetic field, so to speak, it just gets further back, and it keeps getting further and further and further away the more you keep pushing it back. And that's just kind of how this stuff works. I've seen it in spirit like that. And luckily, I'm able to advise her on this, and it starts messing with your mentals. It starts messing with you in between the sleep and awake phase, and that is kind of where she's at now. So we pretty sure some of it might be human entities, but it still could be something to do with the negative entity as well.
I feel
So
like so like when you have abilities, but then you have negative entities, they can A block your third eye from seeing other things and
true.
or other entities will see that it's bad and not want to be around it. So I feel like because she's had this thing, she wasn't aware that she was able to see the human stuff.
It's very possible. And I mean, this thing has only been around her for like 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's but you're right though. I'm not disvaluing that at all. You're right. So it could be a little bit of both, but either way, it's important to note that 100% because they can block you. And that's part of what happened I think with her is like they were blocking her ability to call out for help like we've talked about.
Yeah.
So that's very valid, and it could be now that she's opening up more spiritually, they're kind of coming to her because human spirits, like just earthbound, normal human spirits that don't cause too many problems, they still can cause problems, but not, some of them cause a lot more than others. But generally, they're just going to come and go. Whether we're not we've protected and cleansed our house, but it's easier for them sometimes to get through when we're gearing our protection to something else because I'm energetically focused on the nasty thing. And I don't know 100% what exactly the other people used, but I do know it had to do with some Appalachian like folk traditions and herbs and sound healing. So I normally normally there's nothing left behind when I do my cleansing. So I'm not saying anything negative or anything, but I'm just saying something's off. And here's why. And I'm not, how can I say this? Something's off because this thing is trapped outside of her house and we actually have video and audio proof. It is crazy. It is, I mean, I've seen videos like kind of like this before, but knowing the whole backstory behind what my client caught, she actually has some really crazy evidence, and it points to this thing basically being right outside of her window, based on the sounds that it's known to make and just how it can is trying to get back in. And it's even the place that I picked up on it coming through, like when it travels through, it's traveling through that exact window based on some other things that's happened, which I may have spoke of last week, but I'm not going to elaborate on. I just want you guys to know it's extremely horrifying. If you were to hear something out like this outside of your window, some people would be moving out and never come back. Some people just deal with it, but the lucky thing is it couldn't get in because of the barriers that had been placed. So that's really like there's several things that's happened over the last 2 weeks, but that is really the highlight of my this week's experiences. So if there's any more updates that I can share, I will share next week. If not, I'll be moving on to another weekly or bi-weekly experience for you guys.
I was
So
gonna
definitely stay
say
tuned.
too, like, because of this incident though, she's more like aware of her surroundings too.
Yeah.
So that further opens her up as well.
Yeah, and it can. So she spiritually has knocked down walls, and she has
Yeah.
always saw stuff. Like she's always saw stuff based on her career, and I mean, I don't know how much she wants me to share with that, but she has always saw things, but it's different this time. It's different in the way like she's opening up spiritually and like allowing we did too. The same thing happened to us. We
Yeah.
became more aware after we had our big haunting experience. So it's, I mean, 100%. But I will say for the viewers, she has always seen stuff. She's even seen an Ikatomi, like for real, for real. So I was very excited to hear that, because you don't hear people talk about the Ikatomi, which is the spider entity. She actually saw one in a hospital just like I did, doing the same exact thing. So that's some validation
That
there.
freaks me out. I don't like spiders.
Yeah, this is crazy. So there's something going on with the Ikatomi entity, and me and her live about 6 hours away from each other. So, but yeah, that kind of concludes. Unless Emily has anything she wants to add about the whole entire situation or anything, that's all I got for this week.
Well, you know what they say.
Get bug spray and spray that some bitch.
Get you some pepper spray and some of that. What's that other stuff that they use?
A fucking blowtorch, or get you
Yeah,
like some,
flamethrower.
and set it on fire. Yeah.
A real life lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Something. Ain't no damn spider entity gonna come suck stuff out of me. You can go back to hell where it belongs.
Not in my house.
Yep. Can't even swat it with fly swat. It won't work. Had to metaphysical fly swats.
Listen,
Okay.
I have a metaphysical sword. I'll chop that bitch.
Yeah. I'm just gonna have to explode it with my mind or something, like 11. That's all I got.
Well, you got the light in your hands and shit.
Yeah, that's true. And I do elemental stuff.
Your
so I might just.
hand pew-pews.
Yeah. I got metaphysical pew-pews on my hands.
Mm-hmm. Pew pew.
I'm gonna blow it up. I'm gonna start making little light bombs out of it and shit. So if I swear, I would try. If something like that come after me, oh, you best believe it's going back to hell where it belongs.
Yep.
Okay.
Speaking of those things, you know how we do that? We do that through manifestation, right, Jazz?
Yes, it is through manifestation. That is correct. And you get there through meditation. But it's a very specific part of manifestation, I will say that. And that leads us right into the meat of the episode. So manifestation is the process of bringing something into your life, basically, through your thoughts and feelings and beliefs. And in everything I just said is super important: your thoughts, your feelings, and beliefs. It is the idea that you can create your own reality by focusing on what you want and taking it in action, like taking it to action. You have to act upon these things. It is partly in your mind. And I know that sounds super duper crazy, and people are like, it's your imagination. Well, guess what? Your imagination is really, really powerful. So there's really many different benefits to manifestation, or to be able to manifest. But it really includes visualization, and that involves creating a clear mental image, of course, of what you want to manifest. And that's super important in psychic work in general. Affirmations. So these are positive statements, of course, and you want to kind of, repeat these things. It's just like when you want to build your self love, like, I love myself, I am beautiful. And you keep telling yourself that. And it is said that the affirmations daily will tend to raise your vibration. It's just like the rice experiment. When you talk shit to one, one pile of rice, and you talk, lovely to the other one, and the one you talk like shit is going to look like shit by the end of it. So you have to do that to yourself. Y'all, I'm in a mood today, if you can't tell. So just go with it. Y'all know what I mean. All right. So gratitude. So taking time to appreciate what you already have and just be thankful, and that creates a positive mindset, and it's super important. Just like, we're not talking about forgiveness right now, but forgiveness and gratitude go hand in hand. Super important to be thankful for what you already have, because when you're not, it puts you in a lower vibration. And then action, taking steps towards your goals and dreams is essential for manifestation. I have done this in my life even before I knew what manifestation was, and we're going to get a little more into that in a bit, but I am living proof that you can manifest your goals and your dreams with manifestation. You don't even have to call it manifestation. You could just call it doing shit, or having your goals, or meeting your goals. You don't have to put a label on it, because when people put labels on stuff, like manifestation and meditation,
It's
shit tends to
witchcraft.
get yeah, yeah, that exactly. Exactly. That's one thing, but also what I was going to say was, yeah, you get stones thrown at you, and shit. Well, but yeah, it's that one thing, and then the other thing is it becomes harder. It becomes harder to be able to like get in the routine. It's like, oh,
That's
I'm
not
gonna
where I thought
manifest my
you were going
desires
with this.
today. It's cool. No worries. I mean, it's a good point. I'm not devaluing it at all. It's a valid fucking point. But yeah, I mean, whatever they want to call it, it fucking works. Manifestation works, guys. Okay, y'all, we're on one today. All right, so manifestation is not a quick fix, but it can be a powerful tool for creating the life you want. And remember, guys, we get a lot of times we get what we want, but a lot of times we get what we need to. So I want to add that in there. If you are committed to the process, you can start to see the results in your life. And yes, I vouch for that. So here are some tips for manifesting. Be clear about what you want. The more specific you are, the easier it will be to manifest your desires. You have to believe in yourself. So if you don't believe that you can manifest what you want, it will be much harder to achieve. And then take action, of course. Manifestation is not about sitting around and waiting for things to happen. We do not hold our hands out and wait for opportunities to come our way. So if you don't take action, the universe takes action for you. You'll need to take the steps towards your goals and your dreams and be patient. Manifestation takes time. Do not give up because you don't see results immediately. These motherfuckers out here today have attention spans of goldfish, and it makes people impatient. And I mean, I'm trying to make it funny, but at the same time, it's facts. Like, you have to be able to have patience when you're doing these things, and just remember. And that's a part of like what I used to do. And I'm gonna tell y'all what I used to do to get things that I wanted in life before I ever was considered myself a spiritual person, much less a psychic medium. But yeah, so the patience is the virtue. I mean, they say that for a reason. Patience is so important. And I think that's what collectively, like, humanity needs more of. We need to be patient for the things that we want. And unfortunately, our lifestyles don't allow us to be patient. They constantly keep us in motion. But yeah, be patient. So, that's pretty much all the just, super specific things I have about manifestation. But what me and Em are going to do is we're going to kind of go back through this list and talk about different ways that we have done things like this in our life. So, pretty much, Emily, do you have any type of story you want to share about your manifestation, or would you like to go through like the visualization process, affirmations? Do you want to talk about that first, or do you want to go into story time?
I like story time.
Okay, go for
Application
story time.
is the best kind. Okay, so an example for me, I'll give two, but like I was at work in my old office and I forgot my lunch and I was like, God dang it, I'm so hungry. I wish I had some cookies. And then all of a sudden, my coworker comes in on his day off and brings me cookies. And I was like, yo, how did you know? And he was like, I don't know, but here's your cookies. And I
I
was
feel
like,
fucking
yes.
inspired after that, Emily. I'm so fucking inspired right now. Oh God.
And then
Okay.
I've done money candles too, where you light the candle and then you write on a piece of paper, like, thank you, universe, for all that you have given me, and yada, yada, yada. And be like, but hey, if you want to slide in 100 or something, that would be awesome.
Make sure y'all
I've
put
had
in
that.
your manifestation candle work, yada, 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 so the universe knows exactly what you mean.
But
Sorry.
for the sake of time, I was just don't make fun of me. But
I'm
I
sorry.
was like, hey, I need some help here because I want Christmas presents for my boyfriend and my family. And I was like, I need a little help here. You gonna help me out? And yeah, so
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is if you put if you put your shit out there, you're going to get your yada yada shit back, okay?
And my
But
hundy.
it can be immediate gratification or it can be something that happens and unfolds over time.
The money thing took a long time, though. The cookies were instant.
Step 4. Yeah, step 4, be patient, guys, okay? Be patient.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for me, I guess I'm going to tell y'all about how I used to do this before I even knew what I was doing. So I'll use an example of like my goals. I manifest through writing a lot. I've noticed, and there's a specific, and I should have found, I know the word, but of course I can't remember it here on the spot, but there is a word for manifestation through writing. So I channel through writing, I manifest through writing. And what I would do is I would set goals and stuff for myself. And I was very adamant about writing. And I don't mean typing. I mean like physically pen to paper because I mean as much as I type way more now than I ever used to because I prefer pen and paper. That's just kind of how I grew up, journaling and all that kind of stuff. But I found by setting the goals and intentions that I wanted to do before I knew I was setting intentions that I could actually achieve those goals. So as a young lady back in my teenage and early 20s, I made a list of shit that I wanted to do. And I literally achieved everything that I wanted to do except one thing. And that was open a brewery. Because y'all know if you've listened to the podcast, like I was a bartender, event planner, event bartender, and I wanted to open a brewery. Well, my life changed, and thankfully, because that's not really what I want to do anymore because I had my Saturn return and now I do this. This is much more meaningful than getting people trashed. Although it was a lot of fun, I ain't going to sit here and lie, it was a lot of fun back in the day, but it's it's still a really cool industry. It's just not what I'm into. But by doing these things and like manifesting through writing, also things that I wanted. So for example, having like the impulses to go out and buy things like, oh man, I want a backyard patio set. Gosh, I want one so bad. And you actually probably, let's say you have the money to buy one, which they've got outrageously expensive these days. But let's say you had the money in your bank account and you could, in your savings account, and you want to go out and buy a nice patio set. But you say to yourself, this is just a prime example. You say to yourself, man, I want it. And you get that impulse buy and you're like, you almost do it, but something says, wait. Well, there's a reason because you manifest that into your life. And, it could be a month later. It could be 4 months later. It could be a year later. And it could be the next season. And you go back and you find something, marked down way, 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 way cheaper because you had patience, because you visualized it where it was. It's about creating your space. I've always been blessed with the ability to visualize. That's part of doing like event planning work. I've always been able to set up, it doesn't matter what it is. I've always been able to visualize a space, and that has a lot to do with manifestation, especially people that set up events and people, even it doesn't matter if you're in the event industry or not. If you are a person that is good at party planning or planning in general, you're probably very good at manifestation and you will possibly relate to what I'm saying here. That's just part of it. So, I mean, I would wait for things like that. Like I wanted a bar to put in my like a little outside bar, but I wanted to do it back like when I started bartending, but I ended up getting an outside one and just used it inside and part of my kitchen and made me like a little bar area where I could practice and we had friends over and stuff. And I finally got it. It was like $200 or $300. And although I had the money at that time to go get it, no problem, I waited. And where I waited, I got it like 30% off. So I was always telling myself, because I didn't realize what I was doing, just be patient. Good things come to those who wait. Patience is a virtue. Visualization and writing it down. And that's why journaling and keeping track of what you want to achieve. Now, there are times I feel the need to say this. There are times in life, and I'm sure some of you are listening that have got to the point where you've done that, and now you're at the point where you've done everything that you want to do, or some things don't seem obtainable and you're bored with life. And that means it's time to switch it up. It's time to aspire for more things. And I'm here to tell you, I went through that. After I achieved all that stuff, I went through all that. And then my path became this type of work, which I never would have guessed. But it took a while. And that was during my Saturn return. So I'm sure somebody needed to hear that. Just be patient because it will come to you, but you have to work for it. Whether that's mentally working for it or physically working for it. It will come to you, and you get what you need. You get what you want a lot of times too with patience, but you get what you need faster, especially with good karma. So that's kind of my experience with manifestation.
I want to add something.
Sure.
I feel like I manifested my abilities because of a certain traumatic event that happened to me with somebody. And out of spite, I was like, you know what? I'm going to become stronger. And I did, I feel like.
Absolutely. Yeah. Tell me I can't and watch me fly. That's what
Yeah,
I say. Tell me I
exactly.
can't do something and watch me fly, because you're going to see me and be waving and wishing that you would have been nice to me in the past. So that's
Hmm.
all I've got to say. That's how I feel, because I don't treat people badly. I'm not the type of person just to treat people like crap and or be. I was taught manners, and we were literally just talking about that. Like a lot of people, and I'm not saying our awesome listeners, I'm saying there's a lot of people though that don't have manners anymore, and they don't have patience. And this is like a lesson in life. Now, I would like to add to the conversation and experiences. Let's take it on a spooky route.
Hmm.
Let's talk about manifesting bad things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you can manifest good things just like you can manifest bad things. So when you're in a lower vibration, you can manifest things in your life that are, bad for you. Bad people, bad things, bad energy, bad entities. And it's not that and you can even manifest an entity based on thought forms and trauma.
And oogly booglies because of the crackhead next door.
Yes, if you live in exactly. You tell people about that again. That's a good example.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I had the experience where I was in my room and all of a sudden this thing starts running around and it's like 3 feet tall and it's got bulging eyes, a big head, and like Chucky Finster hair, but it's like black and all over the place. And he's just running around like, and yeah.
Yeah. So what I pin that down to, and this might sound silly to some people, but really think about what she just said. And Emily lives in an area that not far away is highly known for drug activity. Let's just say it that way. And I firmly am a believer that people that get out there on certain types of drugs, especially the ones that make you have bulging eyes
It
and
looks like
sorry
it looked like he was
skin.
on meth.
Yeah, I was yeah, I just didn't know if I was gonna say it or not, but yeah, let's just say it. It's like literally somebody manifested a thought form, because when you're on that type of stuff, you kinda, in a way, that's what they do. Just it was amplified because it was in the spirit, guys. Remember, anything we do in the physical is represented in our spiritual energy. And if you are a person that has the ability to create, and everybody does, but some people are more apt to being able to create poltergeist and thought form typed entities than others. And what better way to create a wild ass, bulging eyed, like
Yeah.
thought form energy than to be on something that dangerous. And I mean, I don't want to say this lightly, because I know that there are people out there that suffer from addiction and suffer from, having these problems, and they're still people too. Like, people with addictions are still people too. They're still human beings, and generally they're in the lowest part of their life when they're doing this type of stuff. A lot of people make it out of it, and a lot of people don't. So I don't want to make this super silly. It is kind of sounds a little silly, but I do want to make sure that I state that, because it is not a game, it is not a joke. It is a epidemic of its own. But this is what's happening. So think about this. What's going to happen in 100 years when we're all gone? Maybe, I mean, they're creating like fake organs and stuff. So some of y'all rich motherfuckers may be out there living with plastic organs and stuff, which you do you, but I'm okay with going through my process of getting older, I guess. But the point is like, think about what it's going to be in 100 years. Um, when there's these people are all gone, and then you have a bunch of these different types of thought form energies running around. Maybe that has something to do with the state of the society, because in the last 100 years we have changed so much. Humanity has, and we've been forced to. We were born on this earth. Okay, we were born on this earth. We were put here, and now we have to pay to be here. We have to pay to live. We have to pay to drink water that was free. We have to pay to eat. We have to pay to have electricity, which that is technically a privilege. Our ancestors and our family or whatever lived without that stuff. But at the same time, it's like it's got quite ridiculous, and it's causing a lot of turmoil, and they've taken away our spirituality. I'm not trying to get too off topic, but it really has a lot to do with what we're talking about, because these things can actually make it harder for people to manifest and to meditate, because the energy, like sometimes, and I'll get into that later, but I will say this, it's a lot harder to meditate when the energy around you is all fucky, like, and funky, like it's just sometimes it's just, I've had that experience before. But yeah, so I guess we're just going to cover some information again about manifestation, again, visualization. Emily, do you have anything you'd like to say about the visualization part of how you visualize things with your
Hmm.
psychic abilities, or related to manifestation?
Yeah, so like for example, when there's a negative entity and I have to kick it out. So before I got to where I am now, I used to literally have mental practice where I would just literally go through training, like physical training, but in my mind of me defeating these entities. So when they did come, I could just go whap bam boom, take care of you, you're done, bye, and it would just be easy. And it's just a repetition thing until your body automatically just does it without thinking.
Right. And visualization is super important for psychic abilities. Like that's what I worked with my client. We had the same vision of a house covered in vines, and I my assignment for her, since she was seeing the same thing that I saw before I ever talked to her, was to go and cut these vines away from this house. It was for her to visualize cutting away these vines, and it helped heal her past trauma. So, and that is a form of manifestation, because it's not just about getting what you want out of life. Manifestation goes much deeper than that. And it's actually, again, this is the introduction episodes to psychic abilities. So this is very important. This is a very important step to learn and to understand. You do have to use that visualization technique. You do have to use your imagination to be able to reproduce things in the spirit.
Your imagination, then you'll
Mhm.
see.
Now I want chocolate, damn it.
Yeah, down the chocolate river on a chocolate boat.
Yeah, I'll take the chocolate river over the strawberry river any day, baby.
Yeah, I don't like
And somebody
strawberry.
probably got that reference. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah,
Yes.
so definitely get the mental images that you want to manifest your goals, your dreams, desires, even in the act of being a person that it has psychic abilities. We all have abilities, but somebody that's working towards that type of stuff. When you try to go up against something paranormal, like Emily said, if you have to, you never want to put yourself in a situation where you're bucking up against entities for absolutely no reason, because you're going to get yourself in a world of mess.
Yep.
Do not poke and prod. It is not appropriate. It's not spiritually appropriate. You don't poke and prod anything. It's disrespectful.
Mhm.
It don't matter how malevolent it is. If it's leaving you alone and you see it, you leave it alone too. And that's just my way of doing things. Somebody may disagree. If you disagree, please feel
Mhm.
free to write us, because I would like to talk to you and understand why you disagree with that. Because I mean, we're looking to have a conversation, not necessarily debate, but that's just my personal advice to anybody that's getting into this.
Mhm.
So yeah, visualization super important. That's what I did with my client. I'm just using that as an example. This thing was attacking her in the physical from the spiritual, and I went to her location, remotely viewed it, put her in a bubble, pushed this thing off of her, pushed it out her door, and then Hulk slammed it through the floor, and it stopped immediately. And I didn't tell my client anything. It was all visualization. She didn't even know I had the ability to do that. And I said, "How are you feeling now?" And she was like, "I'm fine. What did you do?" And then I told her, because we have to withhold a little bit of things sometimes to make sure there's not a biased opinion. And it's help us validate, because we have to, like, we had to trust in this process too. You have to trust in the visualization process. So affirmations is personally something that I have not worked a lot with, but I do understand about affirmations, and I think they are very important, especially in the spirit. I'm doing a lot of this episode with spirit. Spirit's helping me with this a lot today, guys. Um, Affirmations are super important for people that are suffering from depression, people that are suffering from being at a low vibrational state, people that have past trauma, people that are suffering from paranormal incidents. Like, daily affirmations are good for people that need that self-esteem boost. They're good for everybody. They're good for everybody, but really, if you're struggling mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, consider putting some affirmations into your daily routine. I've really been pushing spiritual practices. Like, that's something I'm really pushing. Like, I'm trying to develop a plan of attack for people, not like a plan of attack, but like to attack the day, really, like, and how I can help you guys, initiate your daily routine and spiritual practices. Do you have anything you want to add about affirmations?
I mean, the only thing I really ever done with affirmations is like before I would have to do a school project and present in the front of a class, I would have to be like, okay, just go first, go second. You're going to be fine. You're not going to be as bad as some of these other people. Like, you're going to be fine. And then it always helped me succeed.
That's great. Yeah, that's a great example. And, it just reminded me of like going live. I went live for the first time last night. And, I always have a bit of anxiety. I don't have as much anxiety as I used to before I filmed the podcast. And y'all may not be able to tell because I get into another frame of mind. I get into another part of myself to be able to do stuff like this. Even though I'm a Gemini and I have, a socially butterfly type personality, I still have like the other side of that is my Cancer side, and I have to prepare myself to do things that either get released to the public to be on video and stuff like that. And I do kind of the same thing because a lot of times, I'll worry about what I look like. I'll worry about, the insecurities that we have, which can be partly intrusive thoughts that we've spoke about in the past, things that are not 100% of our own like thoughts and or thoughts that are coming from a lower vibrational space within our energy field. So yeah, affirmations are great because I have to tell myself, you got this. I give myself a little pep talk. I'm like, you got this. You do this all the time. You're fucking awesome. You're beautiful. I have to tell myself that because a lot of times, I mean, I know a lot of people suffer with the same thing. So I'm sure somebody can relate to me with what I'm saying with that. Let's see. Gratitude. We're moving on to gratitude. It is very important to be thankful for what we have. We all were, blessed with what we have. There's people and places that don't have very much, and sometimes they're some of the most happiest people in the world. But being thankful for what we have is super important. Again, just like it lines up with gratitude and forgiveness are one of the biggest things when you start your spiritual practices. If you want to advance in your spiritual practices, make sure you have your gratitude and your forgiveness. I'm putting forgiveness in there, even though it's not part, well, kind of about manifestation, because if you're holding on and harboring feelings about things, you may not be able to manifest as well. So I'm going to actually add that in there 100%, gratitude and forgiveness. If you're not practicing gratitude and being thankful for what you've been gave by, chance, spirit, destiny, the hard work that you've done or the hard work that somebody's done for you to make you have the life you have, and you're not forgiving people for hurting you. I mean, it's like a forgive, not forget type thing. We don't have to forget what people have done to us, sometimes it's harder than others because every situation is different from one extreme to another. But yeah, if you want to move further in your spirituality and you want to be more advanced, then you have to get in tune with that vibration of gratitude and forgiveness, and you will go a lot farther. Because I had to do the very same thing. I had to stop saying, man, why does all this happen to me? Ugh, it always happens to me. Well, bitch, you got a yod in your chart, or some people call it a yod. I call it a yod because that's what I was taught. But it's I'm supposed to have that happen. We are supposed to have bad things happen to us so we can appreciate the light. But yeah, gratitude's super important.
Yeah, I would say I started to learn that I have to be more appreciative to my spirit guides and be grateful for all the work they've done and have helped me, strive to do better. But also, I started welcoming, well, not welcoming bad things, but I'm not taking it as negative anymore, and I'm seeing it as a good thing because it's a learning experience, and without that learning experience, you don't grow.
Exactly. And that's part of it. And you know, it's like take the lemons and make lemonade. This is kind of what we're saying here. If you can. I mean, tragic things happen, and we're not saying get over it.
Mhm.
We're not saying just get over it and forgive and be grateful that that happened to you. That's not what we mean. Everybody heals in their own time, but the point is really allow yourself to heal.
Mhm.
And even from your paranormal stuff, like this, it's just like what my client's going through right now. She's allowing herself to heal. She is I would say a star student. Like I couldn't ask for a better client. And I keep saying this because like it's the point of the type of work that me and Emily do. You have to be willing to make changes for this stuff to stop and to go away when it comes to paranormal situations and hauntings. And it's not just as easy as burning sage. You have to do it with manifestation, with intentions. And again, take action. You know, action is the most important thing. We can't sit around and wait for things to happen. We can't sit around and feel sorry for ourselves and be like, well, nothing good ever happens for me. And I'm just going to stay in the position where I'm not growing and I'm not going to try to better myself because there's no point and all that kind of stuff. All that is lower vibrational thinking. We all experience that. But again, I've already talked about taking action quite a bit, but I just want to reinforce the fact that action is one of the most important steps. If you have a goal, you have to work towards that goal. That could be school. That could be, you know, you doing research on your own. It can be a lot of things like that. Anything like that, taking the action. And if it comes to relationships, like we normally don't do love readings, that's not normally our area of expertise. But if you want a relationship, you're going to have to put yourself out there and you're going to have to take action to be able to manifest your desired partner. Like Emily actually can attest to that. I don't know if you want to share that, but you have a great example of that.
Oh, yeah. So I was getting frustrated because I just had two back to back crappy relationships. And I was like, this fucking sucks. And then I was like, you know what? No, I'm psychic. I can find me a good man. And I pretty much said, spirit guides, please, 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 please show me who I'm supposed to be with. And I saw an image of him, and then I went on like one of the dating apps and I scrolled until I found him.
Yep. But yeah, that's really cool. Definitely. I mean, that's a great example, and it's lucky. But you know, I looked at their synastry, and they were literally fated to meet. So that's a blessing in itself. And you know, it might not work obviously that way for everybody, but you can put that positive intentions into your relationships, whether it's friends or family. Like I did that when, you know, I've said this before and it's very vulnerable, really. But when I got into this, I really didn't have anybody that I could relate to. And I like literally prayed for God to send me people, my tribe, and He answered. And you know, I found a lot of people that I can relate to, and he continually sends me people. Like I'll know if there'll be social. I know this is kind sounds kind of like creepy podcast girl, and I've said this before, but I don't mean it this way. Like I can be on socials and I'll be drawn to somebody's account, and the next thing I know, they'll be in my inbox, or I'll make the initiation again, take action. And actually, with the psychic sleuth, that happened. Like spirit drew me to her, and she was open enough to accept that. I mean, I told her off the bat, I'm like, hey, you know, and we started chatting in the chat and everything and like became friends. And I told her, I said, Spirit has, you know, drew me to you for some reason. I said, and I'm following what they say. And I helped her get like a table when she was, you know, getting her channel up and going. And now she's become very successful in her work, and she's a brilliant, you know, psychic medium, and she's helped many people. And I saw that in her, and I didn't have really the means to do much, but I knew that I wanted to help her in any way I could within my means. And you'll be drawn to people like that in life, whether it's friendships, relationships, it's destined. You are destined to meet people like that. And again, manifestation, you don't even have to put the name on it. You just start writing out your goals, especially for the young folks, even people that are, you know, our age and stuff. We kind of know the deal of life, but for those of you that are younger, I mean like late teens, early 20s, It's really, really, really hard right now to live. We get that. Like, we've lived a little bit longer. I'm about 16 years older than somebody that's 20 right now, and things hadn't always been like this. And I am so sorry. I really am, because y'all have it really tough. But manifestation does work. Keep your head up, like, for real. Like, I feel the need to say that because I know a lot of people are struggling out there. So that's besides anything Emily wants to add, that's really all I have for manifestation.
I was going to say victim mentality is the worst possible mindset to be in, because that just pretty much throws your opportunity of manifestation away.
Yep,
Mhm.
exactly. And it's not to say that stuff won't happen for you, because it will, but it will block a lot of it.
Yep.
It will block a lot of it. You are blocking a lot of your potential, like, by what Emily said. I agree. But yeah, so
Hey there, curiosity connoisseurs. Are you intrigued by all things strange, weird, and unusual, but too embarrassed to talk with your friends and family about it?
Well, we're your family now.
Join me, chronically curious Katie,
And me, combat veteran Chris, as we don our tinfoil hats and question everything.
from crazy mysteries, out of this world conspiracies, and the unbelievable happenings all around us.
Let's try to stay sane as we laugh and explore together through our podcast, Stop Thinking with Your Butt.
Wherever you like to listen.
hey, Lamp fam, we have some exciting news to share. We've teamed up with the owner, Daniel Class, of the infamous Haunted Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York, to help support the ongoing restoration efforts of this iconic location. We believe in the value that the Hinsdale House has offered to the paranormal research teams across the country and want to help ensure that this location will be available for years to come. If you would like to help join the restoration efforts of this iconic location, we ask you to check out their merch store at danielclass.shop/lightsatmidnightp, or click on the link located in the description box below, our Linktree link, and browse through the many awesome shirts, hoodies, accessories, autographed posters, and much more that you can purchase at a discounted rate, but only through our personal link. That is danielclass.shop/lightsatmidnightp, and use code lightsatmidnightp, all caps. If you're into collecting haunted memorabilia, they even have a piece of the Hinsdale house. You can actually own a little tiny piece of the wood from the construction from the old house. You actually can take that home with you. It is a haunted, it would be considered a haunted object, guys, so just saying. But anyways, I assure you, if you're a fan of the paranormal, you do not want to miss out on this opportunity. Again, to help support the restoration efforts of the Hinsdale House and pick up some super awesome merch, follow the link provided and use discount code to get 10% off your entire order. The code again is lightsatmidnightp, and join us in our Support Spooky campaign efforts to help out others in the psychic and paranormal community.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Rosewood, and I'm here to help you keep your curses hexy and your hexes sexy in this snarky, true crime and paranormal podcast. If you like a little personality with your true crime and a little scare with some flair, Thrice Cursed is the podcast for you. Thrice Cursed will be coming to you anywhere you listen to podcasts in October. Until then, you can find me on social media such as Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrice Cursed Pod. Until then, keep it hexy.
I guess, Emily, we're going to be moving on to meditation next.
Yepperdoodles. So, if you don't know what meditation is, it's a practice where an individual uses a technique such as mindfulness or focusing the mind on a particular object, thought, or activity to train attention and awareness and achieve a mentally clear and emotional calm and stable state. Meditation is practiced in numerous religions and traditions. And there are a few types. Well, I should say there's more than a few types. I feel like you could literally make anything a meditation, but here's some examples. So you can do mindfulness meditation, and it's a type of meditation where you focus your attention on the present moment. You can do this by focusing your breath, your body, and your thoughts. And then you have guided meditation, and it's a type of meditation where you listen to a recording that guides you through the meditation process. This can be helpful if you are new to meditation or if you find it difficult to focus on your own. And then you got mantra meditation, and that's where you repeat a mantra, which is a word or a phrase over and over again. And you know what? You can use this with affirmations. And this can help to quiet your mind and bring you peace. And then there's transcendental meditation, and that uses a mantra to help you achieve a state of deep relaxation. We have Vipassana. I probably said that all wonky donkey, but it's a type of meditation that involves observing your thoughts and feeling without judgment. This can help you understand your mind and emotions better. I feel like I do that a lot. And then there's walking meditation, which is literally you walk slowly but mindfully, and this can help you connect with your body and the present moment. And no matter what type of meditation you choose, the most important thing is to find a method that works for you and to be patient. It may take some time to develop your meditation practice, but the benefits are worth it. And guys, you don't have to do the stereotypical like legs crossed, eyes closed, and like if you're somebody with some like ADHD, for example, and you can't sit still, then maybe that kind of meditation ain't for you. Maybe the walking one would be better. Or like drawing and writing for me work. Chas, are there other ones that you do?
So I will insert something here because it's so interesting how spirit gives me things along the way before I record these. I literally wasn't looking anything up. I wasn't Googling. I was just scrolling through shorts and on, or no, TikTok actually. And one of the last TikToks I saw today was a lady talking about a man moving in with monks, like in a monastery, and they would not allow him to join the sessions because that's all they do is I mean, they do a lot more, but they do a lot of meditating, like a lot. You know what they made him do at first? They made him clean. They made him
That makes
clean.
sense.
And that, yes, because the act of solely taking on and cleaning and doing that, and being in your own thoughts and not being distracted. It's not like cleaning your house with, you're like me, cleaning your house with 3 kids running around just to tear it back up. We're not talking about that. We're talking about cleaning at a monastery, okay? But you know what I'm saying, though. And they had him clean the place and everything. And after so long, they allowed him to join into the meditations. And it helped him. And it was even said that by doing the cleansing and stuff, it actually helped him be more patient and helped him manifest better. So if you're having, what it told me was, and I literally just thought about this, I didn't even think about the correlation to what we were talking about. So spirit is really helping me, and I am showing gratitude right now because yeah, it means something. That means if you're having problems meditating, no, you don't have to meditate like by like a Buddhist monk. You can do it through, like Emily was saying, art, journaling, cleaning, walking outside, being in nature, whatever brings you that contentment and keeps your mind quiet. It doesn't have to be just sitting still, because personally, I do struggle with that sometimes. My meditation comes at night. And it can come with even background noise. Like a lot of times I'll do better if I have like a podcast playing or just something playing in the background. And then I can like split my mind at that point and tune all that stuff out. So for me, a lot of it, I have done meditations, but I do meditations with crystals and stuff. And I like to do them with whatever specific crystal that I'm drawn to. One of the things I do like to do sometimes, I don't do it all the time, but I would like to do it more, is with the cycles of the moon. I pick the crystals out I want to work with that month based on my manifestation and intentions, which maybe I'll talk about a little more later, but that's just a prime example. And I'll use the crystals to meditate. That helps me a lot because I can like feel the energy. Because I think one of the things that we were talking about last night on the live that makes a lot of sense to me and I have not thought about is I feel like I've become ADD that now that I have abilities. And it makes sense because we're constantly split. Not constantly, but a lot of times we're split. We have our intuitive side, and our spiritual side is generally in tune with our waking side. That's not 100% common for everybody. And it might not be common for everybody, but eventually I think a lot of people in their spiritual journey, they either understand or will understand what I'm saying. And you can do meditation a lot of ways. Guided meditations are really cool for folks that are, just getting into it. One of my favorite meditations, which I've actually talked about before, is where you relax all the part of your body, and then you envision the golden stream of light from divine energy coming down through your crown, and you imagine silver stream of light from the ground coming up through your tailbone, so from the crown and the root chakra, and meeting around your heart and merging together. And it really did a lot for me. Like, it felt great, and that was a guided meditation. But once you learn it, you don't have to like hear the guided stuff anymore. You can just do it on your own. It was very simple. And there's other types of manifestations where that have to do with visualization. So for certain cycles of the moon and certain times of the year and whatever your practices are, it doesn't matter. Like, if you want to pull in more intuition, you can imagine, you can do visualization meditations, and that's how, like, you can meet your guides and stuff. But sometimes people just need a little bit more direction, and sometimes we don't. So I definitely have worked with visualization, and I've definitely done meditation through like writing and drawing and all that kind of stuff. Like, even about, I left this out about manifestation for my jewelry business for Treasure Tree and Company. The things that I wanted to create, I would manifest through a journal, and a year later I got to go back through that journal and see the things that are now in physical form. And that was a beautiful thing. But I did that as a form of meditation and manifestation. So that's kind of how I've done stuff personally in my little story.
I would say almost all my meditations are visual meditations, and then I will add something to it. So whether I'm walking or drawing or writing, I'm still visualizing as I'm doing it. It's just something I've always done no matter what. And I also want to
Right.
add in meditation with frequencies and binaural beats and stuff.
I think, I always thought it was binaural, but I'm country as hell. So
Binaural.
binaural, or it's one of those. Y'all guys, you know what we're
Got
talking
one
about.
going off right now.
Oh shit. No, I've used those before. I have used the frequency meditations, and I have used I'll just stick to binaural because I don't know how you said it, but I've used it before.
I don't like the binaural ones. I'd rather do frequency, but if I had a choice, I just don't use sound unless I'm outside and I have natural nature sounds. Because I get so distracted by the sounds and it gets on my nerves eventually.
That's understandable, and everybody's different. Um, I started using the binaural binocular beats. I started using those probably about 6 years ago. And I didn't even realize at that time it was like, I mean, I kind of did, but it wasn't on my priority list. I used it to sleep. And then, like, now I have got into using frequencies every once in a while when I feel like it, like healing frequencies and stuff. But you do have to be careful because there are certain frequencies that can attract lower vibrations, and there's certain frequencies that attract higher vibrations. Therefore, you have sound cleansings and stuff like that.
You know, when we did the collab on my channel about your original story, like the first time you were talking about it on there,
Yeah.
some a-hole sent us under that video a link of it's like a frequency of the negative entity associated with the one you were talking about.
Yeah.
I had to delete that.
Yeah, that's so childish.
Yep.
Like that's really going to work for us.
Mm-hmm.
How does he think that's going to go? Anyways, we're not lowering our vibration.
Nope.
You can take a walk. Take a walk, buddy.
Yeah.
Take a walk.
To your
Think
bridge.
about what you. Yeah, to your bridge. and get under it.
Yeah.
Gotta have the toll. Gotta play the toll. Yeah, there would be a lot of tolls and karma paid for that kind of stuff. But anyways, yeah.
So, there are some benefits to meditation. So, it reduces stress and anxiety, which I can attest for that. It improves focus and concentration, increases self awareness and compassion, promotes relaxation and well being, can help to manage chronic pain, and may help to slow the aging process. So, maybe that's why we look
That's what
so
they say.
young. So,
Yeah, I guess so. And I like Sephora Girl.
and that's why I get carded
Yeah.
at movie theaters still.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
I was definitely aged well, and it's like everything changes when you're 35, so be on the lookout.
I
It's
mean, my body's
wild.
trying to kill me, but at least I look like I'm 16.
I don't mean to laugh, but the way you said it's kind of funny. I feel you though. That is facts though. But you
Yeah.
know what? You're doing darn good. Yep, you're doing a lot better. Everybody send
Mm.
her, and please for me because my back's been bothering me. So if anybody wants to send us some loving healing energy, we would greatly appreciate it. And I mean that with all sincerity. And we
Mhm.
appreciate you guys for like listening and tuning in every week. And you know, we know who a lot of you are, and y'all fucking rock.
Guys are super special, awesome,
Super
yes.
fucking special, awesome.
And then meditation can be practiced for any length of time. Some people can do it for 5 to 10 minutes, or you can do what I was doing, which is like 2 to 3 hours. But I'm weird, so there's that. It is important to find a time and place where you will not be interrupted. You may want to sit in a comfortable position with your back straight and your eyes closed. You can even try the binaural beats, like we said, and calm sounds and different frequencies. And then when you first start meditating, it is normal for your mind to wonder when this happens. Gently bring your attention back to your breath or your chosen focus. There is no need to judge yourself or get frustrated. Just keep practicing, and with time, you'll find it easier and stay focused. Meditation can be
Right.
a powerful tool for improving your mental and physical health. It can help reduce stress, anxiety, depression, as we stated, and it actually can help improve your sleep. I'm guilty of this. I lay down sometimes when I meditate, and especially if I'm trying to go to sleep, I'll do that because I'll immediately go to sleep.
Yeah, a lot of times where I do my meditations at night, sometimes I don't have control over what I see. Like, and
Mhm.
this is factual for I can take it right back to my client's situation. 3 days before I ever knew my client existed, this entity was already contacting me through like my sleep and awake time, like where I like to kind of get my mind clear. And I don't always have negative experiences, like, but a lot of them can be because of the work that I do. But for example, last night I was taken to a beach, and I was laying on the sand, and I could just feel the sand running through my hands, and that was a really nice experience. And there was somebody there with me. I think a human spirit come up and like bugged me or whatever. But I started seeing the entity just as my client saw the entity, but what she saw it with hair, I didn't. Same body posture and everything. And this came in through my meditation session. So, depending if you do any type of spiritual work, even if it's just for yourself, you can have these times interrupted by things too. So, I don't know if you want to talk about that yet, but that just reminded me of like
Yeah.
how it can be positive or negative. Like that's how me and Emily see some stuff. And a lot of times I don't have to try to see it. Like it's not like I'm trying to see it, but I've had several things come through and interrupt my meditation. And you know, we're going spooky here because I mean for real, it does that. And this goes back to the what we've told you guys, or if you're just new to the podcast, when you close your eyes and you start to see things with your eyes closed, that's even though you might think that's normal for everybody, it is
See,
not.
I didn't know that. Like, okay, I know it now, but when I was getting into this, I thought seeing shapes and all that stuff was normal. And I was told, no, that's not normal. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, I was
Yep.
seeing all sorts of things like shapes, faces, like so many things.
Yep. And if you're not having anything intrude into that time, You will see, like she was saying, shapes and colors, maybe geometrical stuff. That's how it normally starts out. But then that's how it was for me. But then I started seeing, like, when I had my haunting and I was living in the Hell House, the Hinsdale Hell House. I have my own Hinsdale house too, guys, but not the same one we're talking about with the promo, but that's what I call it. The haunted Hinsdale house or whatever. That's kind of what I call my haunting too. So just not to be confused with our promo. But yeah, I would see like the same 3 to 5 face shapes and I saw them repetitively. And then I started waking up with scratches on my back, but that's because I did not understand how to protect my energy. But even now, I see them, but I don't have the same issues. But sometimes they can get really intense. Like I've checked in on somebody because they have a python spirit attached to them. And when I checked in on this energy, I even did some manifestation work with candles and stuff, which is something like we didn't talk about, but just know we'll get into some more of that stuff later because we have a special guest coming on that probably save that kind of stuff for. But we'll just leave it at that. But basically, yeah, I went and looked into it, and this 40-foot, I would estimate it to be, because it took up a lot of, like, it was outside and I was really small and it was really big comparatively. And the last thing I remember before I got spiritually attacked, as in the form of an anxiety attack out of nowhere, was this like 40-foot long python looking snake like bite at me, and then everything went black. For the next 2 hours I had full-fledged anxiety attack, heart rate, pressure, numbness, all kinds of stuff, like things that want to make you go to the hospital. So that can happen during meditation if you're suffering from a haunting. I personally pushed for that because I wanted to see, but sometimes when you push for things that you want to see, you get more than you bargain for.
Yep.
That hasn't happened to me lately. This was a while ago. I'd say like over a year ago. And in the last year, I do have to say my abilities have really come into fruition. And I will say that the astrologer that I worked with to learn how to do some of the stuff, some of the services I'll be providing for people, like identifying intuition and stuff, she told me that coming, like when one of the last sessions I had with her about a year and a half ago, she told me that I would start having more visual stuff. And I sure as you know what did. So that's just one thing to be careful with meditation, is like you can have those types of experiences, but don't freak out, don't stress, guys, don't, you just take it as it comes. Like you really just have to take it as it comes and deal with it energetically as it comes, and if it continues to happen and you're having nightmares and stuff, because sometimes meditations, like, you'll go to sleep and then they'll go into nightmares.
Or if you're me, you just astral project. Because every time
Right.
I do it, okay, so you know how you were talking about splitting your attention? So, like, I do this pretty much all day, every day, and I don't do it on purpose. It just happens. But my attention is split, and then I astral project, and I'm doing another thing. And I do that when I meditate too. And I've had attacks where, I was meditating on my beanbag chair and I am put in almost a sleep paralysis, but I'm not sleeping because I'm meditating and I did not fall asleep. And I had been stuck a few times, and literally Ghost, my dog, had to get me out of it. And it's strange because I feel like he knows when I'm in that kind of
Yeah.
situation. But every single time I've had it, he's just got me out of it, and I've been lucky.
Yeah. And that's one thing about her puppy. He's not a puppy anymore, but Ghost, like he's very in tuned to her spiritual energy, because animals are they're spiritual too. Like, and they're to help us. And he really does. It's a really awesome connection.
He's my baby.
Yeah. 100%.
hmm But I mean, that's all I've got on the meditation. If you want to learn how to meditate or figure it out, I mean, you can always YouTube it, Google it. There's so many resources out there.
For sure. And again, this is just like an introduction to, manifestation and meditation. We want to provide like just a standard foundation before we move forward. Like I said earlier, we're moving up the vibrational scale. We want people to understand the important things before we jump right into talking about and identifying different types of psychic abilities and getting into all that jazz. So, yeah, guys, for sure. And we got a lot of cool things again coming up. Remember, if you're interested, check out our link tree and go check out the merch store for the Hinsdale House in New York and help support the restoration efforts there. Again, on Wednesday, we are going to be featured in part 2 with Kevin with Where the Weird Ones Are on his podcast. Again, you can watch it on YouTube or you can listen on Spotify and Apple. And Emily, do we have anything else that we need to tell our super fucking awesome listeners?
I turned my into an ohm.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, I think that is a wrap. Until next time, peace out.
Peace out, Girl Scout, Boy Scout.
Hey, if you have a haunted story you want to share, you can email us at lightsatmidnightpodcast@gmail.com. Get in touch with us there. We'd love to hear from you. We really appreciate y'all hanging around and checking it out. And yeah, thank you so much. We are super excited to bring you some super awesome content. We really appreciate you guys checking us out.
Thank you to all that took the time to listen to this week's episode. Your support means the world to us. And remember, all of us have the ability to shine brightly and shed positivity, even in the darkest of places. Stay safe, stay well, and light it up!